G'day guys, welcome back to the Rugby League Guru podcast. We've got today's episode brought to you by Neds, and we've got another challenge for you guys. We haven't put these on YouTube before, so it will be a bit of a first today. We have got our randomizer 17 that we're going to go through today. So we do this a lot on the podcast. I haven't actually put one on YouTube before, and we do it with two sets of footy cards. So what I have on my phone here, I've got written down 1 to 17. I would advise that you do the same on your dog and bone, or you get out a pen and paper, whatever it might be, you go through, write 1 to 17. Now you have to pick a squad. Now, we go sort of position by position. They have to be sort of the positions that these guys genuinely play. 14 has to be a utility. 15 and 16 have to be middle forwards. And jersey 17 has to be like a back rower. Every other position is exactly the same. So what we're going to do, we've got 17 spots there. We're going to go through, and actually you have to pick an 18th man too. So you got 18 spots altogether. So there'll be 18 spots there for you to pick. We go through 2 packs of footy cards. I'm going to open them up. For example, the first card might be a Victor Radley. So I'll show that to you. Victor Radley is a Roosters player, obviously. So you have to pick a player from the Roosters to put in your team. Once you select them somewhere in your team, you are not able to move them. So a common example I use is that people find like Tommy Turbo and they pick him at fullback, and then they find like a James Tedesco. So they want to move Turbo to center. Once you pick someone there, you have to leave them there. So you have to be a little bit strategic. Now, we always have different themes to these challenges that we do. They might just be current players, previous players, premiership winning players, more than 100 game players, et cetera, origin players, whatever it might be. Today's theme is going to be a little bit different. So we've got 2 packs. The first pack is going to be players that are playing in the NRL in 2024. So current players in the NRL. The second pack, so the next 9 players that you have to pick, have to be past players. So you can pick legends, you can pick all-time greats, whatever it might be there. So you've got to use a little bit of strategy as we go to pick your team. So the first 9 players that you pick, they will be current NRL contracted players. The next 9 are all-time legends. So you might still pick, actually no, let's just make it previous players for the second pack. So first pack is current NRL players. Second pack is previous NRL players, whoever you would like. This is going to be good fun. Write it down as you go. For example, we use the Victor Radley one again. If I pick out a Radley, I'll show it to you. It'll be a Radley. It'll be a Roosters player. At that point, you might want to pause your podcast or your YouTube, and you might want to write down who it is there for yourself and then see what I do. Today's episode, guys, today's randomizer challenge is brought to you by Neds, our official partners for season 2024. Jump onto the Neds app to follow along with all of our bets and whatnot throughout the entire weekend. Bye weekend coming your round. It is going to be a little bit of a mess, so make it a bit more fun with some of my same game multis and whatnot. You can follow along with Tom, Eddie, all the boys from About Even as well over on the Neds app. So go and check it out there. It's going to be good fun. Let's have a look though at our very first card. And remember, where you pick a player, you cannot move them. And our first pack of cards is going to be only current NRL players. So current NRL players, they're the only ones that you can pick depending on the club. Our very first card is Isaiah Yeo from the Penrith Panthers. So our first player has to be a current player from the Penrith Panthers. So straight away, it's very appealing to go for a Nath Cleary, but you might be able to get another player later that's a previous legend, maybe like a Langer or a Joey, one of these guys. I'm going to lock up Nath, my halfback, with my first pick, which if we get a Newcastle card, for example, in pack number 2, that'll probably turn out to be a mistake, or depending which other halfback you're able to get. But I'm going to go with Nath Cleary. So my first card there from the Penny Panthers, I have picked Nath Cleary at halfback. Our second card is a current player from the North Queensland Cowboys. We have got a Tommy Dearden card there. So a player from the North Queensland Cowboys to come into my side at the moment. So obviously Scotty Drinkwater at fullback is an option. Val Holmes in the centre is a very good option. Ruben Cotter you could pick. Reece Robson you could pick. Taumalolo, obviously one of the greats you could pick there. I'm going to go for Tommy Dearden. You could pick obviously himself. I'm going to pick Val Holmes I'm actually going to pick Val Holmes on the wing. I know he's a great centre, but he's played a lot of footy on the wing in his career. I'm going to pick Val Holmes as my pick on the wing there. So Val Holmes from the North Queensland Cowboys is my second current player I'm picking. Our next card is Latrell Mitchell from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I am actually going to pick from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. It's either Cam Murray or Latrell for me. I'm actually going to pick Latrell himself. I'm going to pick him at centre. So I've already filled up a few centre spots there. I've picked Latrell Mitchell from the South Sydney Rabbitohs as my third pick and my first centre, Latrell Mitchell from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Our next card, Big Red, Corey Horsburgh from the Canberra Raiders. So a current player from the Canberra Raiders. So straight away, guys I'm looking at are probably Hudson Young or Joe Tarpanay. They're probably the two guys that stand out for me, and I think I probably have to go with Joe Tarpanay in the front row. So Joey Tarpanay, I'm going to pick him in the front row from the Canberra Raiders. That's my pick from the Raiders, Corey Horsburgh there. Our next card, a special one. 2023 season to remember, it's for Dallin Watene-Zelezniak. So I have to pick a player from the New Zealand Warriors to come into my side here. So AFB comes to mind very quickly to have him in the front row. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck in the centres. Could pick like a Sean Johnson at 5'8" potentially. A Chance, a Tohu Harris I could pick as well. A number of very good options from the New Zealand Warriors. Wade Egan. I'm going to pick Aden Fanua-Blake. I'm going to pick him in the front row. So give me AFB there. Obviously, Roger, you could have picked on a wing or something like that, or at fullback even. I'm going to go with AFB in the front row from the New Zealand Warriors, Aden Fanua-Blake. Our next card, and we're already starting to get some doubles here, a checklist for the North Queensland Cowboys. So we need another current player from the North Queensland Cowboys. I could go with a hooker. I could go with a fullback in Scotty Drinkwater, but I think I can find an all-time fullback in pack number 2. Could go with Tommy Dearden. That's another option as well. I think I'm going to try and fill my bench middle forward. I'm going to go with Jason Taumalolo is going to be my pick there. So Jason Taumalolo on the bench. I'm going to pick him in jersey 15 as one of my middle forwards in the North Queensland Cowboys. That's a shiny one too. You love to see it. Our next card. Isaiah Cartella from the Dolphins. I have to pick a player from the Dolphins to come into our side. So Hamiso is straight away an option that you could go for. You could go for like a Felice Kafusi, one of these guys. A Jeremy Marshall-King wouldn't go too bad. Plenty of options here from the Dolphins. Cody Nikorima you could also pick. I am going to pick... I'm actually going to pick a centre here. I know Hamiso plays fullback for them, but Hamiso's obviously played a lot of football in the centres, especially in the rep arena. I'm going to pick Hamiso in the centres. So I filled up my centres with Hamiso and Latrell, so I don't have to worry about getting a legend from the past for those two spots. Two fullbacks that I've picked at centre because they play a lot there. They're both playing there next Wednesday night. So that's my pick from the Dolphins. Going to be a bit of a waste of a card if the Dolphins appear in the next pack because they've obviously only been around for 2 seasons. Very interesting. All right, this will be a test. Adam Dewey from the West Tigers. So we had to pick a player from the West Tigers that is playing for them currently to come into our side. I think Appy is probably the best option here. So you can pick Appy at 9 or you can pick him at 14. I'm going to pick Appy at 9 in my side. So Appy at 9 from the West Tigers current side, Appy Curacao. Our last card from this pack is going to be the Gold Coast Titans. So we've got Mo Fotuaika there representing Queensland on Wednesday night. A player from the Gold Coast Titans that is currently registered. So obviously the guys that stand out to me straight away are Tino and Dave Fafita. I think I am going to pick Dave Fafita in my second row. So Fafita in the second row. Tough to leave Tino out, but I just think I can get another champion middle forward to go with AFB, Tarpanay and Taumalolo in my next pack. So do a quick little head count of the players you've got. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got 9. So far, I've got Val Holmes on one wing. I've got Latrell Mitchell and Hamiso on the centres. Nath Cleary at 7. My front row is done. AFB and Joe Tarpanay in the front row. Appy at 9. I've got Fafita in the back row and Jason Taumalolo coming off the bench. So I've got all those spots to fill, including my 18th man, who can be anyone from ever. I probably should have filled my 18th man from that pack there. But anyway, here we go. Let's see which all-time legends we can get our paws on here. Remember, guys, you'll have it in front of you. The positions that you might have to fill might be completely different to me, so you might be sitting in a really, really nice spot. Our first pack from the Cronulla Sharks, Will Kennedy. So straight away, I've got a few options here. I could pick like a Gavin Miller to jump in the back row. I could pick an Andrew Eddinghausen. I could pick a Paul Gallen. I could pick like a James Maloney if I wanted to, an Andrew Fafita. A lot of your champion players from the Cronulla Sharks over a long period of time. I'm going to pick jersey 17. I'm going to pick Gavin Miller here, one of the greats of all time, criminally underrated Gavin Miller. I usually pick him in these sides. I absolutely love him. So I'm going to pick him as like my back rower to come off the bench. Gavin Miller from the Cronulla Sharks. Our next card is Jai Arrow from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. So I can pick any Rabbitoh ever to come into my side here. Straight away, two players come to mind. GI, Sam Burgess. They come to mind straight away for me. Now, GI, I could pick him on the wing if I wanted to. He did play a bit of wing throughout his career. I could pick him at fullback, obviously, but I might see if I can get myself like a Slater or someone a little bit later. Seeing as I've already got 7-9 already filled, I can't get Cam Smith or Cooper Cronk, so I might be able to get a Slater later. Could pick GI at 5'8 as well, I guess. I think I'm actually going to go for Sam Burgess in jersey 13. So give me Sam Burgess from the South Sydney Rabbitohs. If I didn't have a centre, I would have picked GI there, but I'm going to go with Sam Burgess, and hopefully we can get a different fullback as we go. Our next card is Joey Manu from the Sydney Roosters. So you need to pick a player from the Sydney Roosters to come into your side, and when you've got the opportunity to pick Brad Fittler, I think you have to do it. So my halves will be Brad Fittler and Nathan Cleary. Geez, if I had my time over again, maybe I would have gone GI and then Brad Fittler at 5'8 might have been the play because I've already got Sam Burgess at 13. But Brad Fittler at 5'8, happy with that. That was my pick from the Sydney Roosters there. Okay, our next all-time player. This one is from Shannon Muru. I apologise if I pronounced that wrong. A Parramatta Eels women's card there. Unreal to see that. It's an international card too, so she's representing Tonga. So I need a player from the Parramatta Eels, a player from the Parramatta Eels to come into this side. For me, I'm going to fill a second row spot with Nathan Hindmarsh. So give me Nathan Hindmarsh in the back row. So that makes my back row Nathan Hindmarsh, Dave Fafita, and Sam Burgess. Very, very happy with that. So Nathan Hindmarsh was our pick from the Parramatta Eels. Our next card is the great Ezra Mam from the Brisbane Broncos. So we get to pick a Bronco player. So I still need to fill my bench. I need a fullback. I need a winger. Straight away, fullback. Obviously, you can't pick Reece Walsh. He's a current player. But this is an opportunity for me to get Darren Lockyer into my side. So I think that I have to take it. I'm going to pick Darren Lockyer at 1. I think people either forget or sleep on just how good he was as a fullback. Still the world's best fullback at the time until he moved to 5'8". Everyone say that Slater changed the game as a ball player. I think Darren Lockyer started it. Billy Slater finished it. So Darren Lockyer, I'm going to pick him at fullback in this Dream Team side. All right, Junior Tupu from the West Tigers is our next player. So we need to pick a player from the West Tigers, not the Balmain Tigers, not the Western Suburbs Magpies, from the West Tigers. So my options, I need a winger, I need a utility, and I need another middle forward or jersey 18 from the West Tigers. When you think of their greatest players of all time, I think it is Benji Marshall. Could pick like Robbie Farah at 14, but I think Benji off the bench is probably the way to go. So I'm going to pick Benji. Could have maybe filled my wing spot there with guys like Paddy Richards, Taniela Tawaki, Marika Korobiti has played there. A number of very good options for the wing there from the West Tigers. But Benji Marshall, if you have the opportunity to get him into a side, I think you have to. So Benji from the West Tigers, the current coach. All right, our next card is a man that is actually already in our team. We have got Aden Fanua Blake from the New Zealand Warriors. So I need to pick a Warrior. I still need a winger. I need a middle forward to come off the bench or jersey 18. With my Aden Fanua Blake card, I'm going to pick Ruben Wiki to come off the bench for me as a middle forward. Ruben Wiki, New Zealand captain on a number of occasions. I think he played 50-odd tests for the Kiwis or something. Unbelievable player. So Ruben Wiki, he's going to be my pick there. If you didn't have a halfback or a 5'8" or something yet, you could have got a Stacey Jones. That's a huge, huge win for you. Even like an Ali Lawatiti would have been a great shout. But for me, I'm going to go with Ruben Wiki to come off the bench for me. Our next card. Oh, that hurts. Our next card is Jermaine Osako from the Dolphins. Now, no offense, obviously, to the Dolphins, but they've only been around for 2 years, so it sort of limits your options. A bit of a wasted card when it comes down to this, and if you were desperate for a certain position, that's not ideal. This is why I do tend to leave my jersey 18, my emergency player, until the very end. So from the Dolphins, so it can be an all-time Dolphins or someone from last year or this year, obviously. I'm going to pick maybe someone that can cover a range of positions to come into this side. So Cody Nikorima, very appealing, can play a few positions. Ewan Aitken can play a few positions. He becomes appealing very quickly. I've already got Hamiso in the side. I might go for Ewan Aitken to be my 18th man just because he can cover back row centre. It probably helps me out the most. So, and I've already got Benji on the bench, so it makes sense to go with Ewan Aitken there. Tough when you get an all-time Dolphins player and they've only existed for 2 years. Our last card, I need a winger. Our last card is Dane Gagai when he was representing the Newcastle Knights. So we need a player from the Newcastle Knights. I have got a wing spot. So my options include Aku Yawate. He was the NRL leading try scorer for 2 seasons, went out the Newcastle Knights. Could pick like a Mag Dog McDougall. Tamana Tahu, very, very appealing to me. You've got Dane Gagai, obviously played a bit of wing during his time there as well, so you could pick Gags. Just making sure there's no one that I'm missing. Tamana Tahu is probably the standout to me at this very moment. I'm leaning towards Tamana Tahu. I think that's who I'm going to go as a previous player, Tamana Tahu. Just thinking back to other Newcastle sides, Brian Carney was a great winger. He's sort of like your McManuses of the world and whatnot. Greg Marciu's in the side at the moment, doing very well. But I just think that picking Tamana Tahu is probably the best player. I'm going to go with Tahu as my other winger as a previous player. So that rounds out my side. Let's go through this squad now and have a look what I've come up with. So fullback, Darren Lockyer. On the wings, Val Holmes and Tamana Tahu. In the centres, Latrell Mitchell and Hamiso. At 5'8", Brad Fittler. In the 7 jersey, Nathan Cleary. Aden Fanua-Blake in the front row with Joe Tarpanay. My hooker is Api Curacao. In the back row, Nathan Highmarsh and David Fafita, 2 very different edges there. And Sam Burgess locks the scrum in jersey 13, so I'd be playing a real power game there. Coming off the bench, in jersey 14, my utility, Benji Marshall. Jersey 15, Jason Taumalolo coming off the bench. He would be with Ruben Wiki. And in jersey 17, a little personal favourite of mine, a 2-time and back-to-back Dally M winner, a Man of Steel winner as well, the great Gavin Miller from the Cronulla Sharks. And in jersey 18, we had to use one of our all-time cards on a Dolphin. We ended up with Ewan Aitken. I hope that you weren't relying on a key position when that Dolphins card came out for you. There's a lot of strategy that goes into these things when you're picking them, when you pick certain guys, which positions you leave, because it can really screw you depending on which cards you get at what period of time. Really happy with the team I got. We didn't get a Newcastle Knight until the very end, so if you waited all the way until your last card to get a halfback and you came up with Joey, congratulations to you. A huge get there. It was funny. I got Nathan Cleary first card from the Panthers, and last card was the opportunity to get Joey, who he said maybe he'll come along. Pretty wild how that played out. But that is our randomizer challenge, guys. 1 pack of current NRL players, another pack of previous NRL players that are now retired. Really enjoyed that one. Really fun team to go through. Leave your team in the comments. Let me know what it looks like. And shout out to Neds for bringing you today's episode. Make sure you go and check out the Neds app. Follow along with all my bets across the weekend and keep up to date with all the bets of the About Even boys in there as well. And go and check out the Guru profile in there. Great stuff brought to you by Neds, our partners in crime for season 2024. Leave your teams that you picked in the comments. Be honest, no dodgy dogs in the comments. Got a no dickhead policy here. So leave them in the comments and let me know what your squad looked like. And let me know know if you think I made a mistake anywhere. Did I leave anyone out? Did I overlook anyone? There's always one or two that I seem to stumble on when you're doing these live and whatnot. So let me know in the comments, did I miss out on anyone in this side?
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website